Hi guys, welcome to Moose Lifestyle. So, today I'm going to be talking about my first work experience. This was summer of 2010. I had just finished up college and I was transitioning to go to university starting in August. So, I had school fees coming up. I would have had hall fees coming up. So, in order to alleviate the pressure from my parents, I decided I was going to get a summer job. I applied for my job in May of that year, and I still had a few CAPE exams to do when I had applied. So I did the interview. I was told that I got the job, but I was supposed to finish my exams, and then when I'm finished with my final exam, then I should come back so they could give me a start date. Now, if you knew me in the summer of 2010, you would have seen me in the pharmacy in Brownstone. So that's my job description. I was a pharmacy assistant and I was also in charge of the MoneyGram operations. So as a pharmacy assistant, it was about 3 of us ladies that were working as pharmacy assistant with the pharmacist. So sometimes we are working right beside the pharmacist where we are supposed to take the prescription from the patient. We would have to gather the medication, check to see if we have it in stock, check the system, count the tablets, stuff like that. And then we'd have to give it to the pharmacist for them to double check and before it's passed out to the persons that are purchasing. Alongside that, I was also cashier. So if I'm not beside the pharmacist doing the actual pill counting stuff, then I'd be at the cashier's desk, cashing whatever else is sold in the pharmacy. A pharmacy would have juice, refreshment, postcards, gift items, stuff like that. If I'm not there, then I may also be at the MoneyGrams area where I would be in charge of the MoneyGram that is being done there, the MoneyGram transactions. So I applied for the job, like I said, in April, and I started working the last week in May. I was at that job for about 4 weeks. So yeah, a bad experience coming up. My first week was okay. I went to work every day. At the end of the week, I did not get any pay. And that's because I was told that they're going to be holding it as a week in the back. And I was like, okay, fine. So my second week, I went to work and I would have gotten my first week's pay in my second week, my second Friday of being there. And that's okay. That's what I agreed to. In my third week, I was told that there's a possibility that I'm going to be moving from working in Brownstone to working in St. Anne's Bay. And I was explaining to my boss at the time that it is not feasible because I would have had to wake up extra early, be on the road extra early, travel for a farther distance, and I'm still getting the same salary, so I'd be spending most of my money on my bus fare. Mind you, in the interview, I had explained to my boss that I have applied for UWI and I got through for UWI and I am going to UWI in August. So the summer job is really to save some money to try to offset the costs for university. So being that I explained all of that, I would have expected some kind of understanding or leniency. In my fourth week on the job, I was told, this time told, not asked, not suggested, but told that starting the Monday, I am supposed to report to work in St. Anne's Bay. Now, I applied for a job in Brownstone because Brownstone is roughly 45 minutes by taxi from where I live. Now, if I'm going to go to St. Anne's Bay, it means I'm going to be traveling for an hour and a half one way. So that's 3 hours every day. And I'd be paying way more in terms of transport, which means that I'm not going to be saving barely anything, and I needed to save the money to go to college. I told my boss that that would not work, and at the end of that week, it was a Friday, I wrote the letter and I sent it to him out of decency to say that I would not be able to work in St. Anne's Bay, so I'm going to have to leave the job. I sent that letter to him about noon on Friday. Now, how we normally get paid on a Friday, he's at the office in St. Anne's Bay, and he would drive to Brownstone to deliver our checks, or he would send somebody, another worker, to come to Brownstone to deliver our checks. So the Friday, we locked up the pharmacy as per usual, and we were waiting for our checks because we didn't get pay as yet. It was 3 of us, and when the person came, the person only had 2 checks and none for me. So I'm like, how is it that you don't have a paycheck for me? And I worked this week. Remember that they would have had a week in the back. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about this week's pay. So I called the boss and he didn't answer. The Saturday morning, I called and I was like, I did not get my salary. Like, what is happening? And he explained to me that because I'm leaving the job, he has to hold on to that week's pay so that he would be able to do an inventory to check to see if anything is missing, or since I was a cashier, he'd have to check to see if my till was short, and if it is, then he would have to use my salary to cover whatever is missing or whatever was short from my cash. I told him okay, because I know that my till was never short, so okay. He said that I should come to collect whatever remains of my money on Monday. On Monday, I called. He was not answering for a while. I finally got through to him, and he told me that he still hasn't gotten around to doing the inventory, so I'd have to wait some more. So this is 2 paychecks that they would have had to me. My final paycheck and my in the back paycheck. So he was holding on to 2 paychecks for me. This went on for days, days upon days upon, until it went into a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks. There was nothing happening. I was advised that I should go to the labor office, that's in St. Anne's Bay, and make a report, and they would talk to him so that he would do something about my money. I went to the labor office in St. Anne's Bay and I made the report. The person working at the labor office in St. Anne's Bay, apparently the one in charge was his brother. So because of that, clearly I was not getting anywhere. Later that day, he called me to say that he was informed that I went to the labor office, and I explained to him, yes, because I want my money. He said that he found a lot of medication in the pharmacy that was expired, and I was the one who was supposed to check off those and take them from the shelves, and I did not do that, so he would have to take that from my salary. And if he's supposed to check all the monies that I would have owed him for the medication that I did not check, which is not true, then I would actually owe him some money instead of him owing me any money. I was miserable. I cried. I prayed. My father actually said to me, don't worry about it. Pray about it. Leave it alone. God will work it out for you. So it was hard because I wanted my money to go to college, and this man was robbing me. I mean, I was a young girl. It was my first job, and this is what you're doing. And I went to the persons who were supposed to protect me from employers like these, and these persons are friends with him, so they're actually teaming up against a young girl who wants to go to college to make better for herself, and there was nothing I could do. So I listened to my father, I prayed about it, and I left it to God. I haven't been in that pharmacy since. If I'm in Brownstone, I'm not going to go into that pharmacy. If something is happening in there, if something is giving away in there for free, me not go back in there. So I left them to time. Years later, their karma reached them. That's all I'm going to have to say. So if you know him and if you knew her, then karma reached them. God take care of it for me. And I made some comments before it happened. I didn't know it was gonna happen, obviously, but I made some comments way before it happened. I know that it has happened, and God worked it out for me. So if you are watching this, sir, I hope you don't do anybody else the things that you did to me, or that you treat anybody else the way that you treat me. In this life, we have to learn that if you treat people badly, it's gonna come around to you, and if it doesn't reach you, it's gonna reach your children. What good?